This is The Ritual, a cinematic journey through the Swedish wilderness where something is always lurking nearby. The film follows four friends who go on a hiking trip in memory of their deceased comrade. Soon, however, they become lost and their friendships break down as they become increasingly aware of the fact that they are not alone in these woods. Jolting hallucinatory images and unnerving glimpses of an unknown creature propel them forward as the film explores themes of guilt, mourning, and conquering one's fears. As well, this feature introduces a wholly original monster into the annals of horror cinema. And this is Christian. He's never seen The Ritual. We're going to have him watch it cold and knowing as little as possible about the film. We'll interview him after to get his unbiased take on the movie. We are Fear fans, and this is the Rookie Horror Picture Show. Christian, welcome to the channel. We're going to ask you a couple questions about your experience with horror.
Indeed. Thank you so much for coming, Christian. We're very, very happy to have you here. Question number one. How do you feel about horror movies?
Honest opinion, I fucking hate them. Not hate them, but I appreciate the art of horror movies.
Why do you hate horror movies?
I had a bad experience once. I watched a Japanese horror film when I was 8, and after that, just like something in me was like, I should not watch this anymore.
Yeah.
Right. It was like, yeah.
Kind of traumatized you until this point? All right.
Right.
Okay.
Interesting.
Interesting. Wow, we've got some history here.
Indeed.
Okay. Well, you might have already answered this, but what horror movies have you seen? Do you know the name of that movie?
I don't remember the name of that one, but I've seen The Conjuring, which was pretty decent.
Was The Conjuring the most recent horror film that you saw?
Yes, Conjuring was the most recent one. I mean, the scary movies, I don't really count that as horror films, like the Paranormal Activity, like that franchise.
Right.
I feel like it's more of like, I don't feel like that's like horror film.
So you've seen Paranormal Activity? And you don't think it's horror?
I think it was, because I've seen it in the theaters, I don't know. It's like, when I think of horror films, I think of like cult classic horror films that...
Okay.
If you don't mind me asking, I mean, when you saw this Japanese film, well, what kind of immediate reaction did that have on you?
It was nightmares. It was just like, I got like just goosebumps. But it was like, I froze when I watched it. I was like, this seems weird. And then after that, I was like, I don't want to have this feeling anymore. But again.
Right.
Okay.
And you didn't have a similar feeling when you saw, say, The Conjuring or Paranormal Activity?
The Conjuring was similar feeling, but it was like, I was older, so I can like process what's happening, like, oh, this is not real. But once a kid, it's like, oh, this might be real. Like,
oh, right.
When you're like young, you think like, oh, the boogeyman's real, or these ghosts are real.
In general, what scares you?
The Japanese horror film, these things like I've experienced with ghosts before, so when I watch films like this, I'm like, kind of relates to that, so I get scared from that. But heights, I love heights. I love crazy animals.
Would it be fair to say then that your greatest fear, or your biggest fear, is just maybe the supernatural?
Yes.
Things that you can't explain?
Yes. If someone can help me process it, I know what it is, but I would not be scared of it. But like when I was in New York, I saw, so we stayed at this very old hotel in New York, near Times Square. Super old hotel. You know the bellboys, like the costume bellboy hat. So we were staying there doing New Year's, and then it was me, my sister, and my mom. We were staying in this small room, this old hotel, and at like 3 o'clock in the morning, this door opens, and then it's like an old man in a bellboy hat. Like I wake up, I look over, and he opens the door. When I wake up, he closes the door, and I talked to like the front desk. I was like, "Is there anybody like was there anybody last night just like going around checking rooms and stuff? Like no, like we don't have anybody. Like they can't open rooms when you're in there and stuff like that. That's what like did I see a ghost? What was I dreaming?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty freaky.
Yeah, probably wasn't a ghost. Probably just like a serial killer.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
You're fine. If you're comfortable sharing, what is your biggest regret?
Biggest regret? Ooh. I think my biggest regret is not giving what other people think earlier in life. I think when I was younger, I like cared so much about what people thought, but now, like I'm older, I don't care anymore. So I wish I had that perspective when I was younger, because I think my life would be a little bit different.
What's the difference in that perspective?
I think I would taken more risk if I had that mindset, and then because I think that like that trapped my mind to not take risks.
If you were lost in the woods and could have one personal item with you, what would it be?
A machete.
A machete.
Machete.
So no.
You have a personal machete.
Not a phone or anything like that. Just a machete.
That sounds like a dream, to be lost in the woods with a machete.
You sound like a man who's very comfortable with a machete.
Yes.
Have you ever hallucinated?
On drugs or off drugs?
Either way.
Either or, yeah.
Hallucinated? No, not really. Not
Really?
Yeah.
What do you know about the film The Ritual?
I've not seen it.
Have you heard about it? Anything about it? Well, that's what you're gonna watch.
It sounds like some kind of sacrifice is going to happen in the ritual. What are you looking at?
What's that behind you?
I'm not going to look.
We asked that.
Yeah. Good job. That's the interview. So. All right, so Christian, you just saw The Ritual for the first time. We got a couple questions for you, if that's all right.
Question number one: what did you think of the movie?
I thought it was a very, very interesting movie. Parts of it super scary. Like in the beginning, I think the scene where they just like did quick, they like whipped the camera, and then the scene where she's just laying there like dead. I thought for some reason that was scary, like because I don't know if it's the sound effects or the music. But after that, it's slowly like there's the build up of seeing the monster or the creature, I don't know, the creature, demonic creature, and it reminded me a lot of different movies. There's one from Troll Hunter, like it was placed in Sweden as well in the forest. It kind of reminds me of Shutter Island, where they do jump shots of what is it, Shutter Island or Inception? One of them where it goes into his dream. He's like dreaming, and then it cuts into different scenes.
We think it's really interesting that The Ritual reminded Christian of several other movies that aren't in the horror genre. He mentioned Troll Hunter, Inception, Shutter Island, and upon my second viewing of The Ritual, I realized that it reminded me of something, and upon thinking about it, I realized that it was reminding me of some scenes from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. There are some scenes in that movie, specifically the directing, that are very surreal, where dreams kind of blend with reality, and we see that in The Ritual as well.
I think it's really interesting that many modern-day horror films, they don't fit neatly into what a lot of people come to expect from the horror genre. There's a lot of crossovers into different genres. People will watch a horror film and be shocked at the amount of comedy that consists within it. It's a very different thing.
What did you like most about the movie? Was there a favorite scene or a favorite aspect of any of it? What do you like best?
I like the location of being in the Swedish forest. I mean, that's one of my dreams, to go visit the forest over there.
Still,
yeah. Hopefully I won't see any of these creatures over there.
We also really appreciated the setting of this film. And I think one of the reasons is because whereas many films operate in a familiar and more populated setting, from Halloween and It Follows suburbs to, say, the inner city in Ju-on, The Ritual takes on an isolated setting, an arduous setting, following in the well-trodden footsteps of Alien, The Thing, and The Descent, and many others, where the characters and the audience must contend with and overcome not only whatever threat exists in that setting, but also the setting itself.
What did you dislike about the movie?
I didn't like that he didn't save his friend. That pissed me off so bad in the beginning. But if he saved his friend, I don't think there'd be a story. But kind of just left his friend like just froze up. He thought about breaking the bottle and killing the bad guys, but let his friend hang like that. Just like he got killed. He fight or flight, and he just flew pretty much. He didn't fight. I wish he did something at least.
Contrasting many of its horror contemporaries, the start of the film, the trigger incident of the ritual, packs a real visceral punch. Many films, they begin with the loss of a loved one, and that loss is often tragic, and the arc of the character who experiences that loss consists of them slowly trying to move on, to find peace, while contending with whatever demonic or cosmic or scary forces prevent them from doing so. But this film is hinged on a character's guilt at witnessing events and not being able to help a friend who eventually died because of it. The theme of overcoming fear then and not succumbing to cowardice is fervently established right at the beginning of the film, which marks it a little bit more rare and unique compared to others.
Was there anything about the movie that surprised you?
I think what surprised me was the part where they're actual people. So I thought the whole story is going to be based on this creature or this beast in the forest, and then not have real humans besides the main four characters who are lost in the woods. But there's like a whole little village that worshipped this creature. I was surprised by that they kind of set that up. And the old lady, I thought the old lady was to be the main character, the old witch lady. Old witch in the woods with her pot. I think that scene where they found this pot in the river, and that was drawing towards a witch kind of stirring the pot kind of thing. But that surprised me that there was other creatures like that, other humans.
The first time we saw the ritual, we were both thrown off by the realization that there were actually other people in the woods with our main characters and the monster, Motor.
What do you think some of the themes of the movie might be, if any?
I think one theme is that you have to conquer your own demons, because the scene where he, doesn't kill the person, that he didn't save his friend, so that curse, I feel like that was a curse that was placed on him, and the part where he gets the X, he's been called. So I think if you, this theme was after he didn't save his friend, he got possessed by a demonic force, and so he got called to the forest.
Yeah, we really liked how Christian summed up the film in this regard as conquering one's own demons, because fear in the film is represented and symbolized as this demonic or mythological force that must be conquered and must be overthrown.
And despite the theme of the movie not being particularly hard to extract from watching it, as opposed to movies like Alien or The Shining, that doesn't diminish from the quality of the movie. The execution is what makes it good.
Yeah, you can have a very simple idea, but your execution can be quite masterful.
Yeah.
And in the case of this film, rather than bowing down to and succumbing to your fears, bowing down quite literally.
Yeah.
In the case of this mythological god, you accept them. You control them and not the other way around.
Yeah, and I think not only is a good, very relatable theme and clearly displayed in the movie, it's also a powerful theme.
What do you think the creature was, and what did the creature itself represent?
I think the creature, it was a demonic force. It was not positive. It was a shapeshifter, I would say, because the creature became one of the guy's wives, and then lured him in and killed him then and made him a sacrifice. So that was one aspect, but it became a deer that was mixed with tree, mixed with human limbs coming out his nose. Very interesting creature.
Perhaps the most memorable part of the film is the movie monster itself. Really, really cool. One of the things we like the best is the fact that it appears to people in these illusory forms, making them see and experience things that actually aren't too real. The other thing we like is that it's arguably the coolest and strangest movie monster that we've seen in years, rivaling that of, say, maybe the Xenomorph or perhaps Predator. But perhaps the thing we loved most about the film was how the monster was revealed.
Yeah.
A lot of horror films, they try and they fail when it comes to revealing the creature, the entity, the monster, the demon, whatever it is causing all this mischief. But in The Ritual, they do it piecemeal. They do it body part by body part. And because the director chose that approach, it creates a lot of tension and a lot of curiosity and a lot of sheer-ass fun on the part of the audience member trying to figure out what this thing is, what does it look like, and because you can't actually see it, there's that fear of the unknown, right? That Lovecraftian concept that makes it so interesting, so cool of a film.
What did you think of the directing?
I think it was interesting how they did like the different scenes. Like they played into the guy's dream and then cut into reality, so you can't tell where it was. So it reminded me similar to Inception or Shutter Island, where they cut to someone's dream, and then it's like, oh, this is reality. So that part was interesting, but parts of it I thought was funny because like when the witch was like right in your face, where some of the remind me of like the Scary Movie comedy series, where it's like someone gets punched. It's like slapstick humor.
The inclusion of comedic elements in any horror film, and not the over-the-top, relentless, scary movie style of comedy, can serve a very important function. When handled poorly, it can create some cringe-worthy moments and some awful audience reactions, which detach the viewer from the overall story. But when handled well, it can allow us to better relate and root for the character, as well as relieve some important tension.
The scene that Christian's referring to, where our protagonist, Luke, punches the old lady in the face, is indeed something we can laugh at. However, we're not just laughing at it, we're cheering along with Luke, because we've seen him go from being a cowardly, guilt-ridden person to someone who's willing to fight.
Did it scare you?
Well, parts of it, yes, definitely scared me. I was like holding onto the pillow, but parts of it was also funny. It was better than I expected. I was expecting it to be like I was gonna be just scared the whole time, but parts of it was really intense, and then it would let up, and then parts of it get intense again, it would let up.
Yeah.
It was a good introduction back into horror films.
Does any scene stand out as the scariest for you?
I think the most scary scene was when the wife shapeshifted into the deer or the demonic whatever creature it was, and then the eyes, you saw the eyes, and it's like locking. That part was scary.
Do you have any unanswered questions about the movie?
My question is why they chose the guy, why did they do that thing, and why did he survive? Why did they let him survive? Maybe because he conquered his fear, but I don't know.
Well, on the one hand, you could argue that Luke, through his resilience and his willingness to fight back against Motor, he escaped on his own and was not let go. But on the other hand, perhaps it was Luke's unwillingness to be subservient to Motor that made Motor give up on him being a worshiper. Perhaps Luke's disobedience when Motor was pushing him down, forcing him to bow, made Motor more reluctant to make Luke an acolyte of his, and did influence Motor's perhaps decision to let Luke go.
Does viewing The Ritual make you more open to watching other horror movies in the future? Less open, about the same as you were before?
I think slightly more open. It was a good experience, but I'm not gonna, I'm not a horror film fan yet, but I'm open to watching more.
Thank you so much, Christian. We had an awesome time hanging out and watching the film with you. We love the fact that you brought Oreos, and we hope from the depths of our Fear fan hearts that this experience makes you more open to watching horror films in the future.
And to our viewers, our question this month is, what do you think Hutch and Phil dreamed about while they were in the cabin? What was their nightmare? Let us know down below in the comments.
And for anyone who is new to this channel, don't forget to hit like and subscribe down below and to follow us on social media.
Thanks for watching. We are
Fear Fans.
and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.